our Sports First studios for this Monday edition of Sports First. Ray, are you tired after the spring forward, spring ahead?
Tired after that Real Madrid game at the weekend. Bizarro world, met the outer limits, met the twilight zone. Amazing game, but that tired me out. But more Real Madrid news as well.
Yes, because Ray, do you hear that? Do you hear the noise?
No.
Do you hear the cheers?
I hear something.
Coming all the way from Madrid, because apparently a certain someone who Madridistas are very familiar with is getting ready to be announced as the new Real Madrid coach. We'll dissect that before looking ahead to the Champions League and also looking back at what happened in the Premier League and a little problem of pitch invasions. All this on Sports First that starts now. So guys, the word on the street is that Zinedine Zidane is ready to be appointed next Real Madrid manager. Reports coming out of Spain are suggesting that Real Madrid are going to meet at 6 p.m. Madrid time and to discuss this possibility, and that he will then be announced as taking over for Santiago Solari. A little bit of a shock because Waves had been mentioning Mourinho as the possible person to take over, and now it is indeed Zinedine Zidane. Is this a surprise to you?
It's perfect. This is Real Madrid, and it's so easy to forget the passage of time because our game is so full of theatre and drama and news 24 hours, 7 days a week. But just cast your mind back to when Zidane said, "I'm out of here. I'm done." Nobody could believe it. That was an absolute catastrophic blow for Real Madrid, and the players hadn't much of an idea, the president. And behind that comes this. He returns against all the odds, where he was heavily linked with Manchester United, Chelsea, Juventus. But he loves this club more than those three put together, in my opinion. It's that aspect that he said he'll come, and as Mike, our producer, said, try to put out this dumpster fire, because by Real Madrid standards, that's what's on the hands. And now the prodigal son returns. And, I mean, what was that, as we were talking about, Gabby, that big dramatic head-to-head confrontation with Ramos and Florentino Perez? What do you think happened there?
So my question is, what happened to Mourinho? Because for weeks now we've been hearing
the hell with
Mourinho's the next one. And I think that this just shows maybe the power of Sergio Ramos within the Real Madrid kind of system in making decisions, because it's clear that Sergio Ramos and Mourinho didn't have a very good relationship. And I think that maybe that road that Sergio Ramos did address, so let's go back a little bit. Before the Zinedine Zidane news broke, Sergio Ramos took to Instagram in a very interesting post and literally interviewed himself, which is, interesting, little self-centered, but whatever. And so he addressed all the questions that, to be honest, we had for him. Was the yellow card in Amsterdam an error? He says, yes, it was 200% my error. Did you argue with the president in the dressing room? And his response, dressing room issues are discussed and resolved in the dressing room. So he doesn't deny it.
Right.
So it did happen, and I think maybe it was the possibility of a Mourinho return, and he's like, no.
And I think that's a good thing for this club, because I think in this type of moment, in the next step for Real Madrid, they need to turn back to their type of leadership and their type of their type of football. Zidane brought that in a way that hadn't been seen before. Certainly not under Mourinho. If they had went back to Mourinho, what do you think Ramos would have said? What do you think Courtois would have said? Do you think they would have any chance of getting Hazard? Actually, I'll take that back a little bit, because I've heard that with Hazard and Mourinho, it wasn't as bad as what's being made of. But this is a shock. This is an absolute shock, no question about it. And it's perfectly timed. You look at what Man United did with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There was a sequence of games, and I said this before Solskjaer was given the job. Whoever steps into this has got a run of games that's going to be perfect. As you said, Gabby, Real Madrid could literally go unbeaten the rest of the season.
Correct.
Now, what's going to happen at the end of it? Because you look at the games they've got coming up. The Celta Vigo, Huesca, at Valencia, which will be a tricky game. Eibar and at Leganés. And then you look at them after that, And it's even worse than that.
Correct.
It's easier. So it's a great time for Zidane to be able to come in and at least put a patch over this season and head towards second place, which they could get conceivably. But my last point on this, Gabby, you talk. Go on.
No. Well, my question is, because you say it's a perfect time, and I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, why now? The rest of the season is easy. I think Real Madrid, even under Santiago Solari, can go the rest of the season unbeaten.
Maybe.
Why bring in a change, your third manager of the season,
because
when there's no changes that they could possibly make?
They know that Solari isn't the long-term
right, and he knows
question.
that.
Exactly. He was parachuted into this train wreck. They got rid of Lopetegui probably too quickly in hindsight, but that's always debatable. But the more interesting facets is going to be what's happening with these players, because let me tell you, again, let's go back in time. He didn't want to get rid of Keylor Navas.
Eddie Ortiz saying on the screen, sorry, we have a screen here and we can see your comments. Bye-bye Courtois.
Eddie.
Which is very real.
It's not that, because he's a top goalkeeper. I'm not saying, but Zidane knew and told the president, I don't need another goalkeeper. Well, we've got Courtois lined up if you want him. I don't want him. He's not going to be as effective in this team with this defence, with this midfield.
Right.
And he won't be as quick off his line on a number of other issues. He didn't want to keep Gareth Bale. The president says, and this is what I've been told, he wasn't a big fan of Gareth Bale. He went on and said that, and president says Bale staying. He didn't want to get rid of Cristiano Ronaldo. The Cristiano thing, he said, we've got to keep him. He's going to be okay. Since then, there's a lot changed, Gabby, and he's going to come into a dressing room now that will welcome him. And the potences are good for Real Madrid. This is a good appointment, I believe, to bring him back into this situation. And then the next thing is going to be in the off-season. Are they going to be able to hold on to him?
Right, because, I mean, we do have to look at the roster. The roster from when Zinedine Zidane left to what it is now is no different, except for the addition of Courtois and Brahim Diaz, a couple players. But, I mean, these are the players who shined under Zinedine Zidane that Lopetegui and Solari could not get the same kind of effect.
And he's got Odriozola and Reguilon coming in now, and he loved them.
Correct.
They're tremendous players, top-class players.
Now he gets
and
to
of
work
course,
with.
The big one is Vinicius. And that's another reason why he can say, listen, now we've got this young fan that the fans absolutely adore and love, and they can get a lot of money for Gareth Bale, probably over 100 million, and go out and get the next big thing. Talking about a Neymar possibly, or a central defender of the type of
De Ligt, maybe.
Like a Van Dijk that Liverpool produced so good. I'm not saying they'll go after him, but that type of quality is needed. And Zidane, I think, his words now will get a lot more respect from El Presidente, Florentino Perez.
And that brings me to my next point. So Zinedine Zidane, obviously there was something that Zinedine Zidane asked for at the end of last season that perhaps he was not given. Maybe it was certain key signings and an amount of money that he wanted to spend to rebuild this Real Madrid squad. He wasn't given it, or they couldn't see eye to eye, and he said goodbye. What do you think has changed from then until now? What's going on behind the scenes that Florentino's like, okay, you can have what we couldn't give you last season?
It's just the reality hitting him right in the face like a big sock of manure, just smacking him right in the face, where he thought, well, we could get... Remember, Zidane took this job because nobody else wanted it. Solari took this job because nobody else wanted it. Odriozola took this job because nobody else wanted it. That's harsh truth for the Madridistas, but they know it's the truth. They were knocking on everybody's doors, asking for people to come in, and they were saying, let me think about it, and they were turning them down. This situation is a second opportunity. Second opportunities have had a sketchy record. Mourinho, of all people, did it when he got the second chance at Chelsea, remember?
Correct.
He went back and won the league. So, that's one aspect. Kenny Dalglish, unfortunately, when he went back to Liverpool, still a fabulous coach and had a wonderful reputation, that didn't quite work out. So things have changed at Real Madrid. Modric is a year older. Sergio Ramos, a great leader.
Gareth Bale maybe does want an exit now.
Very sour about it, about his situation. Is he going to be able to turn him back on? Evidently, Gareth doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay. The president wants him to stay. That's a big challenge for Zizou.
Absolutely. Andrew, let's read the comments here because we've been talking too much and we want to hear from you guys. Andrew Contura, Zidane walked into Perez's office with all the leverage this time around.
That's right.
I would bet Zidane will have more control than before in terms of the team transfers.
What's his name?
Andrew Contura.
He should be sitting here, Andrew. You're taking my job, man.
Brandon Fuego, welcome. Madrid will buy a center back, winger, and striker.
Right, and I don't know if it's going to be Hazard. You know, this situation with Eden would be a big signing, but where would he play? You know, and what's happening? The other one is Isco. I mean, remember how much Zidane loved the bearded, bandy-legged little beauty? He was the nucleus of that great team of his.
Bonilla saying Isco will be back as well. So a lot of you saying Marcelo's going to be back, Navas is going to be back, Isco's going to be back, Zidane's key pieces.
See, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to quell all of these flames that are going on, this disconnect, this discord. It'll happen as soon as he walks in the locker room. Believe me, I've been in situations like this where you take over a mutiny. That's what he's doing. And you know what? This isn't Captain Bligh. This is a man with a little touch of Harry in the night, as Shakespeare said. He'll soothe this.
Magic man.
He will soothe it. Believe me. Instantly, the press loved Zidane. And what's altogether amazing is that a lot of you Madridistas out there in the early days were very critical of Zidane's tactics, and
they said they weren't a tactician.
He's not a tactician. They wanted somebody that could do all the X's and O's. But what he did with that team was amazing, and he won a La Liga title, and he won the Champions League twice, right? Three times. Sorry. You know, that part of it is inarguable. So. But it's a different setup now. There's no question. Nothing remains the same in football. It'll be a different dynamic, and he won't be judged on this season. He should be able to blow these teams away. But that's what we said about Valladolid. And in that first half, Valladolid stood up well to them.
Absolutely. A lot of you saying in the comment section about bringing Mbappe in, which is interesting because I think a lot of Madridistas would love to see him in white, but he has said that he's not going anywhere.
There's more chance of me walking on the sun than Mbappe of coming to Real Madrid.
I think it's
and
too
I'll
soon.
have a bet with a big Dairy Queen ice cream pie with everybody that wants to say, remember that. I'll buy them all for you.
I tend to agree with
happen.
Ray. I mean, as much as we would love to see Mbappe in La Liga, he has said that he's staying at PSG, that he hasn't been able to sleep after their Champions League loss, and that he is staying put. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Jurgen Kim, I would be surprised if Ronaldo came back or Dybala joins Madrid. That's hopeful thinking.
If Juventus get out, if Atletico can do the
You
business
think?
against, who knows? I mean, who would have thought this?
You're right.
You know?
You're totally right. Amine Esco saying, I don't see Marcelo coming back.
Yeah.
You can still deal him for money and have someone younger play. Well, they have someone.
Yeah, Adriozola and Reguilon, wonderful. That's going to be pushing Carvajal. I mean, these two are wonderful players, but Zizou knows where the world class is in Carvajal. They've got one there. And what was that, lads, at that point there? It doesn't matter, Scott.
I don't know. Alex Vetter, I usually comment a lot, but all I can do is watch and listen to Ray's wisdom.
Alex, you little darling, you. Thank you.
Mike Fuentes, man, Ray, I love that shirt. Everyone comment. So what do you think is going to be Zidane's first purchase as manager in the transfer market?
One of these shirts.
Besides one of your shirts, Ray.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you know.
If it does happen.
It's going to be intriguing. Does he pull the switch and take out Courtois? I'm just saying, is that going to be the first statement of intent? I think that would be harsh because Courtois is a good goalkeeper. But he knows that Kayla is a better fit. Is that going to be too disruptive to the dressing room, to the locker room? It's a delicate situation. But who's he going to go for? You know, I mean, he loves Varane. He loves Ramos. He knows Ramos will fight a Bengal tiger in the dark, as I always say, for his club. He will do it. So I don't think, but they need better cover in a central defensive area. So I think that way, you know, he's going to be like a new signing.
Exactly. Well, and the Bernabeu wants to see him. They chanted his name. A little bit of a Courtois stat for you. I know you don't like the fancy schmancy stats, but according to Mr. Chip, Courtois is actually the second worst keeper in La Liga. His 67% save rate is no bueno.
See, I don't, I
know you don't like the stats.
It's not just the stats, but it puts it up there as a road sign for sure. But there's a lot in that Real Madrid defence and midfield that hasn't been right in protecting the goal. But that's the like a velvet trap, because now we can see this wonderful Costa Rican goalkeeper, how much he meant in shutting down quickly. I still believe the goal that beat Real Madrid in the Clásico by Rakitic, Kayla would have been out there quicker. That's just an example of it.
Right.
But hey, listen, it's going to be great. Is he going to replace the centre forward, Benzema? There's been shades of Benzema playing better than he's ever done this season. And the Frenchman, getting rid of that Frenchman?
No,
I don't think
shot.
So.
No, not happening.
It's the Marcelo and the Bale movement. I think as we watch this season play out, and how many games is there left, Gab? 10, 11?
11 rounds.
The handling of Gareth Bale and the response of Gareth Bale, the handling of Marcelo and the response of Marcelo is going to be very indicative as to what's going to happen following that season.
So Santiago Solari was supposed to be in contract until 2021, but as reports coming out of Spain again, for those of you just joining us, Zinedine Zidane is expected to be appointed Real Madrid manager again. That meeting is at 6 o'clock Spain time, which is 1 o'clock our time, so please keep an eye on that. We'll keep you guys posted on beIN Sports.
Good one,
Kevin Bustamante, Marcelo to Juve for Alexandro. Yeah. A little swap, though?
Yeah,
you think?
It's likely. Like the Indians could win the baseball game. Cleveland Indians, right?
Before we end the show, because this has been a lot of Zizou talk, we'll look ahead to the Champions League, get race predictions here. Barcelona taking on Lyon, 0-0 in this one. All to play for.
Yeah.
But at the Camp Nou, so.
Yeah. But it's going to be dangerous, because we've seen the 4 upsets, and I think it's fair to say that in the Champions League, the 4 underdogs went through. With all due respect to the teams that advanced, nobody would have probably picked those teams to go on. They did. So Barcelona better be careful. And this team, Lyon's coming in. They've had a set of mixed results since that game.
Correct.
They've been hot and cold. Fekir is back, and this young kid Tanguy, wonderful player. So they've got a lot to take care of, Barcelona, and haven't been hitting their heights of heights.
No.
Dangerous game for Barcelona.
And Dembele in doubt because of a little hamstring injury, so we'll keep an eye on that. But that is all to play for. That's going to be a partidazo.
Yeah, but Lyon need a perfect game. We know that. They'll have to play perfectly well, catch Barcelona. Is it possible? Absolutely.
Especially with the way this Champions League is going. Bayern Munich taking on Liverpool, 0-0 in that one too. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Liverpool season taking an interesting turn.
Beautifully poised this game as well. You can see Liverpool scoring a goal and the away goals rule. But Bayern Munich have been playing good in the Bundesliga. They're right there now with Borussia Dortmund and knocked them off the perch. They've won 12 of the last 13, Bayern Munich. But no Kingsley Coman, no Ribéry probably going to be in now.
Right. And then next up, Manchester City, Schalke. This one seems to be. I mean, it was an interesting game, that first one, but Manchester City did pick up the win.
Yeah.
So
Schalke has been slipping further and further down as well. But City's. They're playing in 4 tournaments as well, Gab.
Correct.
So, that sometimes takes its toll. And does it take its toll, or does it sharpen the knife for them? It's debatable, but it Stones, Laporte and De Bruyne are big doubts for this game, and they're big misses. So, but Man City should be able to moonwalk past Schalke.
A lot of people in the comment sections predicting Bayern will go through, which I think for Liverpool would honestly be a good thing, so they can focus on the Premier League. Last but not least, Juventus taking on Atletico Madrid. And this one is going to be interesting. Juve, Cristiano Ronaldo has said that he's ramping them up for a beautiful Champions League evening.
That's right, and who would bet against them? Listen, 2-0 down. There's talk about Godin being a doubt in this game as well. And Thomas Partey will be out. He'll be suspended. But this will be a great game for Juventus. In that stadium, which is one of the best in the world, it'll be rocking with Cristiano Ronaldo anything can happen.
Right.
But they're going to go for goals right from the first whistle. They're going to get them. Atletico Madrid are good on the counter, especially with Griezmann. It'll be a wonderful game, a hear-em-scare-em football. I wouldn't bet against Juventus turning this around.
I know, especially with the way this Champions League has played out. We're going to end the show with Amine Esco asking the question of the day, honestly. Ray, what happened to the date with the lady that asked you out on here, LOL?
It's still in the Zidane phase. It's very interesting, and it could be pursued for a longer-term arrangement. That's all I can say.
They're in talks at the moment, so we'll come with an announcement very shortly. Tune in to the beIN Sports Today, the extra starting at 7 o'clock, followed by the locker room at 7:30, and then Monday Night Soccer at 8. We're, again, keep posted with us because this Zinedine Zidane thing is going to be interesting. Our producer's yelling at me saying Turkey at 1 o'clock. Yeah. Yes, you won't want to miss that also. But Zizou to be announced. Follow us on all social media platforms because we'll keep you guys updated. That's all we have time for, Ray. Got to continue your talks with the little lady. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Adios, muchachos.